All right, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of The Teardown. My name is Jeff Gluck, along with Jordan Bianchi. We are motorsports editors for The Athletic. And I don't know why Jordan's smiling, but I'll smile because
it's my favorite time of the week. Why would I not smile?
Well, I was going to say that I smile because, we have to pick like maybe 2 races all season to miss. If we're going to miss one, I'm going to say this was one to miss because this may have been the worst road course race I've seen in quite some time. I doubt it's going to do very well in the poll because SVG, yet again, absolute dominance. He wins by more than 11 seconds. He wins his 4th straight NASCAR Cup Series road course race. He breaks the NASCAR Cup Series rookie record for most wins in a season. Goodbye, Tony Stewart and Jimmy Johnson. And SVG is now tied for the lead in Cup Series victories for the season with Denny Hamlin with 2 races before the playoffs. I mean, geez. It just, first of all, before we just say, like, okay, yes, SVG, it's so predictable, dominant, whatever. I mean, this guy is just, are you ready to admit yet that he's the greatest road course driver in NASCAR Cup Series history? I know you weren't there a few weeks ago. Are you ready now?
I'm moving closer to it, but let's put some respect on Jeff Gordon's name here. The guy won 6 straight road courses. SVG's won 4 straight. It was only a few years ago Chase Elliott did the same exact thing. So this isn't completely unprecedented. This isn't even unprecedented in the last few years. So is SVG making a case? Absolutely. But let's just make sure we put some respect on Jeff Gordon's name before we label SVG the greatest of all time. Is it impressive? 100%, no doubt. And I just want to give a shout out to Chris Rebell. Great job. Way to win your class. Get that class victory today. Really impressive job for him. But yeah, I mean, this is what dominance is. Is it when you are so good and you are so great and it feels like you're toying with the competition, you make it look boring. And he makes the routine look boring. But he is so good at this. And people are going to criticize this race, and that's fine. The racing today was not great. There is no doubt about that. But let's make sure we focus on SVG here for a minute. What he did today and how he managed this race goes back to what we've talked about. He doesn't make mistakes on the racetrack. At the beginning of the race, he handled Ryan Blaney much like he handled Ty Gibbs in Mexico, much like he handled Michael McDowell at Chicago. He lets these guys just go and do their thing, and he's content to just kind of ride and save his car. And then when he has an opportunity to make a move, he will, but he's not going to push it. He's not going to do anything silly. He doesn't make stupid mistakes. He doesn't get in the corners too hard. He just does his thing. And the moment you tweeted about this, but I think this really sums up SVG's brilliance, is, William Byron is there, and he's kind of messing with William Byron a little bit, of laying back a little bit and kind of forcing William Byron to use up his tires, because SVG knows if Byron uses up his tires, it's going to give him even more an advantage, and he's going to be able to, pull away. And that's what happened. It's like, this is just what happens. If you're going to beat SVG on a road course, you either need one of 2 things. You either need him to make a mistake and take himself out of the race, kind of like what happened at COTA this year, where he kind of faded as the race went on, or you need complete chaos. If this race would have had a late restart, who knows what would have happened? Somebody maybe would have gotten him in a turn and turned him. Who knows? But none of those things happened today. Instead, when you have a race that is fairly uneventful and straightforward, the best driver is going to win, and that again was SVG.
I mean, I think it's a little bit naive to say that Jeff Gordon in this same car, Tony Stewart in the same car are beating SVG. Nobody's beating SVG. This is equal equipment, Jordan. Equal equipment. They don't have it in the time of Jeff Gordon. He had the best cars. He had an advantage. The SVG is in the same stuff as everybody else, and he's beating this field by over 10 seconds in a straight up race with no, there's nothing fluky about it. And it's the second time he's done this year. I mean, he just did this by 20 seconds or whatever in Mexico. So, and then this week, everybody goes and Sonoma as well. Oh yeah. Oh, now he's not going to win on these road courses that everybody has. In fact, you, Jordan, said that the field would beat SVG.
I thought they would. I thought, where was AJ Allmendinger today, by the way? I thought AJ was going to have a better race than he did, and he was a no-show.
Everybody continues, not everybody, a lot of people continue to underestimate what SVG. In fact, I did a flash poll on X right before the race started, 30-minute poll. I said, SVG or the field today. More than half of the people that responded, over 3,000 voters, more than half said the field. They're still not believing that SVG is going to win. And then he goes and does it again. So only 46% said that he was going to win the race today. I mean, this guy is the heavy favorite every week, every road course. Everybody tries to, well, not at this track though. Not this time. And he does it again. And not only does he do it again, he's in control the whole race and by double-digit second margins in a super close era of NASCAR. This dude is unbelievable. And 100%. You can't tell me that Jeff Gordon or Tony Stewart getting in this car or Juan Pablo Montoya, anybody in NASCAR history getting in this same car and going straight up in the same cars is going to beat SVG. He is the GOAT. Sorry.
Gordon is all time, and he was so good that at that era there were people thinking that he could have moved to Formula One and been competitive. No offense to SVG, that conversation has been had. I'm not saying that SVG isn't the greatest, but look at Gordon's body of work. Look what he did, the number of wins, and it would have been interesting to see if there'd been more road courses at that time, what his stats would have looked like even more. Does SVG have an advantage on a street course where no one has been before? Absolutely, he does. 100%. Does he have an advantage in wet weather? 100%. But let's just pump the brakes a little bit and not live in the moment and sit there and say, this guy's the greatest of all time. What he is doing is incredibly impressive. And it may be in not too long in the distant future, we look back and say, you know what? Yeah, he is the greatest. But here and now, when a guy like Chase Elliott literally has the same winning streak on road courses that he did, like, it's impressive. It is incredible. To win by the margin of victory that he has done is awesome. But you tell me, when Tony Stewart is going head-to-head with him, I like Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart's going to find a way to get this done. Tony Stewart will put a bumper on him. I don't care. I cannot believe that you're ready to put SVG ahead of Jeff Gordon.
I mean, I think you're being a little bit delusional right now. You just don't want to cede your argument, but that's okay. I get it. You don't want to be like, oh yeah, I was wrong from a few weeks ago, but that's fine. I mean, Tony Stewart wouldn't be able to catch SVG. So he wouldn't have a chance to put the bumper to him, and nobody's causing any cautions anymore in this car. So, I mean, how many cautions were there today? The one caution for the debris after the Josh Berry spin. That was the only caution. So nobody's really, unlike the Xfinity race and the truck race.
And here's the other thing too. Let's say Gordon and Stewart, you give them more reps, give them more opportunities to be on road courses, have more practice, have more qualifying sessions, more track time. Like, they're going to up their game and get better. Not to mention the fact that you can add in sim and all of these other elements. Like, yeah, I'm telling you, if you give Jeff Gordon an opportunity, I believe that he is better than SVG. Now, again, it's hard to compare different eras because of different things, but what Gordon was doing in his day was pretty damn impressive. And I just don't want to take away from that and sit here and live in the moment and sit there and say, oh, I don't know. Now, SVG was incredible today, but let's not just sit here. Let's not put him at number one just because we're in the moment.
Okay. Well, speaking of being in the moment right now, I want fewer road courses. In fact, I'm revising my previous of, hey, maybe only 3 or 4 years, fine. I mean, I'm almost like, let's get back to 1 or 2 at this point. And I don't know what you'd cut, but this is horrible. I mean, SVG aside, this just was not any sort of a good race today in my mind. This is the worst race I've seen. I don't see any redeeming qualities in this race, really. This was a really bad stinker. I don't think anything would have really changed it. I mean, maybe you take SVG out and you say, well, the field's so much closer and would have been competitive, and Christopher Bell passed Buescher on the last lap and blah, blah, blah. But SVG is in the race. The next gen car is the car they're racing. They do have stage breaks. So, I mean, would that have changed some strategy? Probably not. There's probably nothing you can do to thwart SVG. So I don't know what you do, but this guy, let's face it. I mean, he's stinking up the show, and the races with the next gen car and road courses aren't good anyway. Certainly, I don't think there's any argument to keep this current number 6 per year.
No,
This is not good. I mean, you kind of knew what to expect going in this, and then when it just confirms it, I mean, this race was 2 hours and 10 minutes or something crazy like that. I don't have the exact official total yet.
The 2 hours is great.
No,
it's what happened.
No, what I'm saying is,
yeah, it's what happened within that 2 hours.
When you get to a 2 hour race and you're just like, I can't wait for this to be over. Make this end. No more, please. Like we've seen enough. After 2 hours, the shortest race of the year, perhaps, that's not good. So there's really nothing. The NASCAR road course product right now is really, really hurting.
It isn't good. I mean, I got good news. There's going to be one fewer road course next year on the schedule. But I agree with you. And I think I said a few weeks ago, I think 4 is probably the number for me. Keep Watkins Glen, keep Sonoma, go to a street course somewhere, whether it's San Diego, Chicago, wherever, and then try to do an international race in Mexico City, Montreal. That would be it for me is 4. And I think that's kind of pushing it right now. And it's unfortunate. And for people who are critical of the car, and there has been a lot of obviously conversation about the car and the next gen car and its failures, or what people deem as failures. This was another case for it, right? I mean, it's hard. This car is so good on intermediate racetracks, but it is not delivering on short tracks consistently. It isn't delivering on road courses consistently. That's a problem, and you have to have a product consistently that delivers entertainment, keeps people compelled. SVG's greatness, it being what it is, I don't know how many people today are going to tune in outside of his friends and family and people that work at Trackhouse and be like, wow, that was an amazing race. He's great to watch, and his brilliance is his brilliance. But let's not construe that and sit here and say that what we're watching is a great product right now, because today certainly did not deliver.
Well, I'm ready to vote on the poll right now.
Let's do it. What's the lowest? Go ahead.
I'm going to get you there. First of all, I did win last week. Big Joe Wall notes that, Jordan, you have guessed 55 exactly for 3 of the past 5 races, and you've only won 1 of those. So maybe you should change it up some.
I'll be changing this week. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that.
Well, I'm up 13-12 now with these 3 more guests in the regular season. By the way, I had a exchange via text with Jordan this week about possible loser bet, and he still won't seed on any of the interesting ones. So we're still working on that.
No. Pump the brakes here. I came up with a couple of interesting ideas, one of which I was really behind.
What, shaving your armpits?
No, I want to do the hot wing challenge thing.
So why is a hot wing? Nobody wants it. Nobody wants. That's not a proper punishment.
Have you eaten
to see somebody eat hot wings? I lose the bet, and I'm like, oh gosh, these wings are hot, and everybody's like, haha, wow, what a terrible.
How is that anything that we've done? How is that like a horrible punishment? I mean, it fits in line. It sucks. You do it. You move on.
No, I think you'd probably enjoy it, and you'd probably sell hot wings T-shirts. And be like, Jordan eating hot wings. Here's more T-shirts.
Why are you so bitter and angry about me actually finding happiness in things?
Because you can't enjoy it. It's a punishment, Jordan. I brought up things to
I choose to look at the bright side of things and not live in my life like Eeyore.
Okay. Well, as I said, I brought up swimming across Lake Lloyd.
No, there could be potential alligators in there, and I had this conversation with somebody. No.
Deal with it.
I'll tell you right now. I will. If you have to swim, if I win the bet and you have to swim across Lake Lloyd, I'd put a damn alligator in Lake Lloyd.
You probably would, but hey, it'll make you swim faster, won't it?
FYI, if there's anybody who has an alligator, I can find anybody in Florida has an alligator I could borrow. Let me know. I may need it.
Okay. I also brought up that the loser would have to caddy 18 holes of golf in Daytona for a NASCAR driver. You'd have to walk the entire course carrying the bag, no cart riding. Nothing like that.
Okay,
And it would be documented on social media.
Okay, so I'm doing
driver would be,
so your whole thing is like, oh my God, it has to be miserable. So doing physical exercise, something that's going to help me maintain my physique, that's a bad thing.
can you even walk 18 holes on a golf course, let alone
100%.
carrying the bag?
I'm in good shape.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, really.
Well, anyway, let's get to the bet because we have more to talk about. But the guess. Oh, so you want to know? Yes, I already looked at this. The lowest road course ever, in Good Race Poll history, was the Charlotte Roval of 2022, won by Christopher Bell, and that was 19.2%. Gosh, there's not even another road course that's even close to that. 2023 Watkins Glen, won by William Byron, was 39.6%. So there's a huge gap. I mean, that was a particularly bad. What happened in the 2022 Charlotte Roval? I guess nothing, because I don't remember, but people did not like that race.
Yeah, wasn't it the race too where there's like Elliott? Was that Elliott?
Was that the sign on the track or no?
I think that was a sign on the track that year.
Oh, people were really mad about that. Is that what happened?
Okay. I think so, yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know if it's going to be 19.2%, but what are the people? Who's going to be like? Yes, I'm voting yes for this one. What are they going to?
Trackhouse,
I guess. All right. Well, I mean, I just, I mean, that's a pretty low percentage. We have not seen that low for any race. Well, actually, I will note Bristol this year. Now, people were mad about the tires, but that got 20.1%. So it is possible to see this low.
Bristol, by the way, brought out a great rant from you about this car. I was really hoping that this race was going to do the same thing, and you was going to draw out some kind of rant about the car again.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, Jordan. I think the other podcasts with people who have bigger voices than we do actually took care of that this week, because if you listen to the Dale Jr. Download, if you listen to Kevin Harvick's podcast, if you listen to Denny Hamlin's Actions Detrimental podcast, these three either Hall of Famers or future Hall of Famers, people who have driven these cars, who are legends of the sport, who know what they're talking about with this stuff, they are done with this car. They are very fed up with this car. And they sound very frustrated and almost demoralized about it. So, but I think Dale Jr. comes sort of the closest to how I feel about it, which is it's not changing. It's not going anywhere. Everybody can. I don't think this is one of those situations where, NASCAR goes, okay, they're right, let's do this. I mean, it would take a collective hundreds of millions of dollars or something to get all new, at least tens of millions. I mean, for sure, easily, to design a new car, to get all new parts and pieces throughout the field for every team. They're only a few years into this. Yeah, I mean, all the R&D testing, all the stuff. I mean, this car, it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. So I mean, everybody can say it sucks. It sucks on road courses and short tracks, but what's changing? I mean,
that's where I'm at.
Explain. I mean,
that's where I'm at. And that's why I get criticized, and that's fine. I look at this car and I shrug my shoulders. Like, there isn't much more you can do. Every tool in the toolbox has been flipped. Horsepower is the one thing out there. You hope maybe that's the cure-all, but it's not going
to be enough.
I agree.
Do it enough.
I agree. And there's a limitation on how much horsepower you can go. And I understand that. And so that's why I always go back to the tires. And that's why I continually focus on the tires, because that is at least the one thing you can play with. But again, I look at this and say, I don't know if tires, I don't even know if tires would have saved today's race. I just don't think it would have mattered, because SVG is so good at managing his tires and maintaining pace over across a long green flag run, which is why he is so good. I don't think it would have mattered. Plus, they had great pit strategy too. Let's not lose that fact. So I look at this car and I just like, it is what it is. I will say this. I've heard everything that everybody said last week, and certainly I defer to Denny and Kevin and Dale. They are far, far smarter on this subject than I will ever be, because this is not my expertise. Very few things are. But I don't know what you can do. And I do feel like, though, we've hit it, or if we haven't hit it yet, we're very close to hitting a tipping point with the fan base where there's so much anger and animosity, and it's like almost to the point you almost expect like a mob outside of Daytona headquarters, NASCAR's Daytona headquarters, with pitchforks, like demanding this car go away. It feels like you're almost at that point if you're not there already, because it's bad. It's getting, and it's been bad. It's not getting better, and the only saving graces you have are the intermediate tracks. And when is the next one of those? Kansas at the end of September. But what happened at that last Kansas race, Jeff? Remember that? That was an ass kicking by Kyle Larson.
Yeah, it wasn't even that kind of a race.
And so, like, it's getting fewer and far in between where you can look at it, and probably the poll numbers bear this, where you look at, man, that was a fantastic race, great job. There have been moments, don't get me wrong, but a green flag to checkered flag, great race. Like, I'm struggling right now to tell you off the top of my head without looking.
Yeah, no, I mean, the last good race in the poll, I mean, the really entertaining race was Atlanta. Got a really high rating, even though that big one. Aside from that, it's sort of been a dry stretch in terms of the summer lately. I mean, since the Coke 600 was great, and then Atlanta was great, but it's really since June onward, aside from Atlanta, it's been a little bit of a dry spell here.
Michigan was okay, but it wasn't great. That was a fuel mileage race.
That's true. That's true. Michigan has the number 1 race of the year.
Yeah, that was good. That was really good.
Michigan was the number 1 of the year, but yeah.
But again, like that was June. That was before Mexico.
Yeah, that was before Mexico City. It
was before Father's Day. It was weekend before Father's Day. Like, so, like,
right.
That's a hell of a long stretch, man. That's too long.
Yeah.
And I take it back. Atlanta was great. I liked Atlanta a lot. I know some people took exception, but I liked Atlanta. But that's you need more than 2 great races over a course of how many races is that, Jeff? 8, 9 races, whatever that is.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 months since Michigan.
3, 4.
So you have one great race, Atlanta, in 2 months.
Yeah. And the thing of it is I think we can fair to say most of the other races weren't even like above average, maybe, or like, you're like, oh yeah, that's fine. Or most of them were like, there's been a lot of pushback. Pocono was the leaders, the Chase Briscoe saving fuel, and he still couldn't be passed. You had the Indianapolis, that stuff. So it's been one thing, it seems like, after another, and it has getting to a point where I don't know what to tell you. And the next 2 races, while they're interesting for various reasons in terms of strategy and that kind of thing, I love Daytona. I think Daytona usually delivers excitement. But there's a lot of people that push back on that now because of the fuel mileage saving thing. And then you've got Darlington the week after that. And Darlington earlier this year, what happened there? William Byron kicked everyone's butt. And, the finish was exciting, but it wasn't a great race. So it's hard right now. It's frustrating. That's why I feel like it's at a tipping point.
I think the tracks recently have built this up too, because we've had a huge road course stretch, all which were dominated by SVG. Then, as I wrote about on The Athletic this last week, I think 4 of the last 5 ovals, taking out Atlanta and taking out the road courses. So 4 of the last 5 ovals have been all fuel mileage races. And then when you get a fuel mileage race where you can't pass at a short track last week, that irritates everybody and sparks this whole thing. And then you get another road course this week. I could tell you what's going to happen likely at Richmond next week, right? It's going to be heavy tire wear strategy. Although Richmond last summer was unpredictable. And then Daytona, we're all going to get there, and it's going to be the fuel savings racing for much of the race, driving around in the pack, waiting for something to happen. And at least you will have the regular season cut off there, but people are going to get irritated about that. So you could say, hey, Darlington, save us here, to start the playoffs. But, you're sort of putting a lot of emphasis on a few races there. So, because I think then you go to New Hampshire, which hasn't been amazing. Bristol has the lowest race of the year so far in the ratings. You've got Gateway, which is similar to New Hampshire. Well, that's later, but yeah, I mean, at least you have before that you have a Vegas and a Kansas.
But then you got then you got the Roval in there in round 3, which is a road course.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the mood's going to end up shaking out to be, but I think also on the other side of this, Jordan, as you have the car not and the racing product not living up to what people are hoping for, then you have this whole playoffs discussion that it's sparked up over the last month again, right? And so that's been, that by itself has been irritating a lot of people and getting under people's skin. You, Jordan, I mean, what was this tweet last week when I responded to "Do you have a point?" from the clip of the teardown last week, talking about is it better to when one race can save your season? You were advocating for the win and in.
Yeah,
I got 231 replies to this, many saying not very nice things about you, which you knew you were expecting that. Did the reaction to that surprise you at all, or
no,
was this
not at all? I will say, actually, one, you're welcome for the engagement. Thank you. Two, the amount of people that were against it didn't surprise me. There were, I guess, a few people that responded either publicly or privately, and I was surprised that I actually maybe got a few more support, a little bit more support than I thought, if you will.
Must have been very private, because I'm looking through the replies right now. There's not a lot of support.
There was definitely some, and there were some from some team people on the team side, crew chiefs, competition directors. I actually had
just privately reaching out to you and being like, "You're right, Jordan. All these people."
There's some public stuff on there too. If you look, there was some public stuff, but I mean, but overwhelmingly, like, people don't like the playoff format. They don't like the win and you're in it, and this leads to this conversation. And I'm gonna say it again. SVG has got 4 wins this year. He is tied with Denny Hamlin for series best. I don't know where I don't have the fresh point standings in front of me. Do you?
Yes, I do.
But
I screenshotted from TV. Yes.
Nice.
What you looking for?
No, I just want to know where SVG was at right now.
So SVG in the point standings is 25th.
Okay. So 25th.
Tied for the regular season. He's lead in wins.
Yeah, tied for the regular season in wins. And, like, we're going to keep this guy out of the playoffs because all his wins came on road courses? Like, you can't do it. You can't have it. You're going to have a playoff system where the guy who probably is going to end up being tied, or at least finishing second in number of wins, would be excluded? Like,
no, there's no way.
You can't. And so
I don't think that's not in modern day NASCAR. Not as long as there's some form of a playoff. If you're going to have some form of a playoff, you would at least have, because even after the original chase format, the wild card they added was points plus the top person in wins. Remember when Casey Kane got a second win at Atlanta that one year? Or whatever.
He did it after Jamie McMurray missed out because he won 2 of the majors that year and he ended up missing out. Yeah. That's how Keselowski got in. I think in 2011 he won at Pocono and then he won at Bristol.
So as long as there's some form of playoffs, some form of a playoff, not a 36 race thing, you would have to have a guy that's run 4 races in there.
You have to. And you look at it, and again, you look at it now, the number of playoff points he has. Like,
over 20.
He said it. I had a media session this week that I attended in Charlotte, and he was looking at it saying, "Listen, we don't have to go be brilliant in those 3 races. We just need to go and not shoot ourselves in the foot, because typically in that round, you see a lot of guys implode, and guys who don't have a lot of playoff points, far less than SVG have, they're going to be in danger. If they have one bad race, they're kind of cooked. He's got it now to where, as long as they don't have a miserable 3-race stretch, they should move on to that second round. And where are we going in round 2, Jeff? Roval. And so his path to the round of 8, that semifinal round, is looking a lot more realistic than it did a few weeks ago.
I think all this, as we talk about sort of the 2 things coming together right now, my mood has not been very good lately.
No.
When it comes to this. To me, I'm almost there where everything needs a reset. and I don't know how you do it, but like I'm almost there on what is even the point of playoffs at all? What is even the point of a 10 race chase? You know, and I get all the drawbacks and you know, could you have runaways and all this stuff, but like I don't think you can argue that a large part of the fan base is airing frustration because, and I don't think it's just pure nostalgia, but they have feelings of how things were or how things used to be, and they want the simplicity back in whatever way it is. So you tune in for a race and you're going to focus on this race, and this race means a lot. It's not just, okay, because if you look at this race today, what did this race really do for the narrative of the season as a whole, right? The winner got 5 more playoff points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's fine. You know, so you're talking about the playoffs, but this guy doesn't have a chance to win the championship. We think he gets 5 more playoff points. He might survive round 1. Oh, okay. You had the regular season points battle changed a lot because Kyle Larson had a problem. So he now falls to tie for 4th.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of it. So, and Chase Elliott had his first non-top 20 of the season, finished 26th, while William Byron was 4th. So now William Byron has a 42-point lead. So you say, okay, well, the regular season thing, that had a big change today. Other than that, you look at the playoff bubble. So Chris Buescher is now plus 34 points after he finished 3rd over Ryan Preece's teammate who finished 13th. And Alex Bowman's plus 60 with 2 races to go. So the bubble there, you know, that's 1 race checked off there. But other than that, I guess what does this really do? But again, to Mark Martin's point, which is, you know, he's been adamant about this over and over. So just I know you don't agree, but just going to his point for a second. If you're saying, okay, let's look at this over the course of the entire season, the Larson thing today would have been perhaps the biggest story, aside from SVG winning again, because SVG's not, you know, in contention. He's 25th in points. Larson falling way out of the finishing 39th last because of the brake issue and changing the face of the championship, that would be a major story. Instead, it's just like, oh, well, he's not going to win the regular season championship anymore. Now he'll just finish 5th or whatever. But this would have been like, whoa, this is a major story. And Chase Elliott finishing poorly today, finishing 26th, would have been maybe one of the other biggest stories. Like, wow, what happened here? William Byron really took a big step today, that kind of thing. So it's just a different, I get the point where not each race is being valued as much. So I guess the sport ultimately is just really going to have to get to a point where they're like, all right, what do you want this all to be about? Because I think the fans are really, you know, I just don't think it's going to be easy to soothe them. There's not one thing right now that's going to make everybody happy again. So how do you reset things? How do you sort of get back to simplicity, back to basics a little bit, where people are going to be like, okay, this is something we feel good about. I actually think if they came out and said, hey, we're going to go to the 36 race thing for a year, they imagine how positively that would be received by a large percentage of the fan base. Probably not you. You're going to be like, "Oh, this is a mistake getting rid of the playoffs here." But a large
there are
percentage
other
of the fan
people,
base
by
would
the
be
way.
like,
I'm not alone on this island. There are other people, but okay.
What? That
the playoffs are a good thing.
I get that, but I'm just saying, imagine if you just said, "Hey, we're going to do a year here where what would the reaction and the reception be from the fan base, from social media, if they said, we're going to 36 for a year and we'll see how it works?
Well,
what would it
one, they'd find something else to complain about. 2, that's fine. Their opinion is what their opinion is now, but then come the fall and somebody is comfortable leading the playoffs. I'm not going to say they're running away with it, but it's pretty much this person is going to have to implode to make this a compelling championship race. And they have to go into not Homestead anymore, Homestead next year. But they go into the last race of the year at Phoenix this year, and they only have to finish, 20th or whatever that is. Like we did see many years, by the way. And yeah, the race, the championship wasn't decided going into the final race. People always fall back on that. The championship wasn't decided in the final race many years. Okay, fair. that's fine. But let's look deeper at this. Many years, the guy only had to finish, average at best, or start the car. And if it's a runaway or somebody's winning comfortably, what are that group going to say then? There's going to be people that say, you know what, maybe I was there. Hopefully people are going to look at this and say, you know what, is this what we want? Do we want something compelling? Do we want something exciting? Do we want a championship that's going to draw people in? Yeah, I don't know. And say what you will, but NASCAR holds its own in the television ratings come the fall. There's a reason NBC paid this money to go head-to-head with the NFL. There is a reason the television ratings have gone up, even though you've had the last few years, even though you've had interruptions with the Daytona 500 last few years. So what they say at the beginning when this would be announced and what they say at the end, I think is going to be two different things.
I don't know. To me, I don't think there's any format. There's any one magic bullet you can do to magically turn things around right now. Anything would be sort of like slowly steering this giant ship back in the right direction, right? And whether that's the car or the playoffs. But if that's the case, and there's not one thing that's going to make it super entertaining or super, juice the ratings or whatever, you might as well make it as credible as possible. So in that sense, why not restore what the fans feel is a legitimate way to do it. Because if you're not, if it's not going to affect ratings one way or the other, why not just say, okay, you know what? Let's just everybody take a step back here. And I think the way things are right now, it's hard for me to sit here today, 2 races away from the playoffs, and have a lot of excitement and a big appetite to go, man, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the playoffs. I can't wait to see which of these elite drivers from the season are going to get knocked out by some fluke thing and miss the second round because they cut a tire or whatever. And then we all go, wow, that was exciting. And then, the 12th place guy in points gets to Final Four, and we're like, oh man, here we go again. Like it's tough to get up for that right now. So
here's a question for you. I'm curious about.
Okay.
Is some of this influenced by the lack of great racing right now? Like if we were having better racing, we just ran through the list, right? Like if there was consistently better racing, we're like, man, we're going to Richmond next week. That's going to be fun. It's going to be, who knows what it's going to be. Daytona, it's like old Daytona. It's not going to be a few miles thing. We're going to go run hard there, that kind of thing. And then, Darlington, man, that's old school Darlington. And you knew that you were going to get substantially high quality racing. Would that change it a little bit? I think it would.
Yeah,
I think
probably.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
If you thought that if we thought there was going to be a bunch of great racing and we thought these guys were going to race it out, and have some super compelling stuff coming up, then we wouldn't really be focused on the playoffs anyway. Because we'd be focused on, wow, that was freaking awesome racing. I love that. That was a great product.
Yeah.
So
and
I think
guys now
that goes together again. Everything's converging at the wrong time.
I agree with that. And I do agree with that. And I think if the racing was better and it was like, somebody cut a tire and now their playoff hopes are, in danger. But it's like, man, you know what? We're going to Bristol. That's a driver. They're going to have an opportunity there to do something, and they control their fit. I think that changes the narrative a little bit. I'm not going to lie. Or we're going to Kansas, which we all tout as one of the great tracks right now. Like, okay, I think that is, but I think if you're a NASCAR fan right now, what excites you right now? What is there to be excited about? Like, it's hard. Like the racing's just okay. There isn't really any like juicy, sexy storylines right now we're talking about. It just kind of feels like it just kind of shrug your shoulders, and that's it's unfortunate. Now, hopefully, my hope is that come the playoffs, when the stakes are raised a little bit, maybe this changes a little bit, and there's something there to add to this. But right now, there just doesn't feel like a whole lot. And as great as we thought like Mexico City and Chicago were in terms of events and what it did for the sport, and it did. I don't have that argument, but it helped. There's still a segment of people that are against it. And so even though that it did do a good thing for the sport and it helped, you still have a segment of people that are like, no, that sucked. And it's like, You're just constantly fighting upstream on things, and that's a challenge as well.
I mean, if you think about it from this week, leaving Watkins Glen, the big talking points on like Sirius satellite radio
Playoffs
probably going to be about Austin Hill.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Zilich, how we're glad Zilich is okay, which we'll talk about Xfinity in a little bit. But like, it's sort of like, man, the Cup Series isn't giving you a lot of the storylines as well right now. Whether it's, hey, you had Kozlowski go run over during practice. They showed us today, and yell at Hocevar. Yeah, they showed us. This happened yesterday. They showed it today.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow, Hocevar, he could mix some stuff up. But other than that, you look over in the dirt world, right? And like, there's this great rivalry right now between Kyle Larson and David Gravel. War of words, barbs back and forth. They've been racing each other really hard. The dirt fans are super engaged in this. And just watching some of that stuff from afar, you're just like, man, that would be great 100%. If NASCAR had some stuff like this. And we always talk about how F1 has all these storylines, endless storylines off track. And, I just think it feels like still at this point, even though it's 2 races to go until the regular season's over, it still feels like in NASCAR, we're sort of waiting for a big talker. We haven't had the Kyle Busch fight this year with Stenhouse. We haven't had Austin Dillon, wrecking the 2 people. It still feels like we're still just waiting or something. And for the something that is going to gets everybody talking all week. And aside from lawsuit stuff,
which casual fans don't care about, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, NASCAR when it can sort of transcend our little racing world, that means something usually big is going on. I mean, I saw this week, people are talking about the Zilich videos going everywhere. That's not what you want it to be on. No. You want, because there was some unbelievable finish or some drivers were getting into it or whatever. Right now, it just feels like we're in the waiting game.
I feel you ask this question every week in your excellent 12 questions. You ask drivers, what do you think needs to happen to grow the sport? Take it to the next level. And there's been a lot of great answers. And I think largely, everyone, there's been anybody that said anything I disagreed with. To me, 2 of the things on my list would certainly be personalities. You need bigger, larger than life personalities. I think that a lot of the drivers are really great guys. They have personalities. But are any of them really larger than life right now? Are they a Jeff Gordon? Are they a Dale Earnhardt Jr.? Are they a Tony Stewart who've got that recognition? Are they going to be hosting daytime talk shows or Saturday Night Live or anything like that? The answer is no. Do we have a driver right now that's going to show up on the MTV Music Awards and introduce somebody like Dale Earnhardt Jr. once did? And people are like, oh, it's Dale Earnhardt Jr. He was in Rolling Stone. Like, you don't have that right now. And that's one big thing. And then the other thing, rivalries. Like, you need 2 big personalities butting heads on a weekly basis for wins and championships. That's what helps sell. That is the foundation of NASCAR, is great rivalries in any era. When is the last great, consistent, prolonged rivalry we've had? I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Well, I think the good news is I think we can identify one half of whatever rivalry there will be, because Hocevar is not backing down. I mean, you look at the comments he made to NASCAR.com this week, Zane Smith stuff. Like, he truly at this point in his career is like, I don't care. And I'm not like, he's like fueling the fire. So we just need somebody, I guess, to get into it with him, because he is going to be very willing part of that. It seems like, right? Like, he's not going to try to smooth it over. So if you get somebody else that is going at Hocevar, but yeah, aside from that, again, I feel like we're waiting for a great race. We're waiting for something to happen in the playoffs. The playoff bubble's not particularly compelling at the moment. We haven't had, it just doesn't feel like this season has given us sort of something to push the story forward as journalists every week of, okay, this is what people are talking about. So
I agree with you on Hosa. I agree with you on Hosar. I think he has the potential. He certainly is willing to stand his ground and not be pushed around. He's not going to change, and that's great. I think he's with the right team, by the way, that's going to have his back and isn't going to be like, hey, we need to kind of do this and that. But the other part of this though is he's got to win races though. Like you can't he consistently, you can't have a rivalry built around guys who aren't winning races. And I think he's got the potential. I think we both think he's got the potential to do that, but you've got to win consistently to do that. He's not there yet.
Well,
we never gave our numbers, by the way.
We never gave our voting. So I have mine sitting here on my calculator if you want to do it now.
Yeah, I forgot
mine in.
I forgot my homework at home and did not have a pen and piece of paper ready. So
okay, well then you just say yours, and mine's already typed in here.
Fair enough.
So
22%.
I have 19.1 here because 19.2 was the previous lowest, and I think this could be the lowest.
Yeah.
But 22% seems like actually a pretty good one because it's hard to get lower than 20 in the whole poll history. We've only seen, let's see, in the whole entire poll history, which is 362 races, only 7 races have been under 20%. So it's got to be a pretty special, nice word there, group to.
What word, Jeff? What word?
No, I'm saying special is the word, but I'm saying like special in terms of like, well, that's special, that kind of special. Because I mean, it's so anyway, 22% is a little bit more realistic, but even there's still only been in the whole poll history, only 10 races under 23%. So both of us are saying this is going to be one of the 10 worst races from 2016 to now, which I honestly think it could be.
I think it will be. I think you win this week. I think it's under 19%. I personally did not have the guts to go that low. My whole thing was I wanted to be ahead of you on the scale, and that way I gave myself more of a window.
Yeah, I mean, hard to argue with. I just don't see why are people going to be voting yes, I guess.
I think this comes in as the lowest race in the poll. I really do. Because I think
lowest race in the poll, period
ever.
Well, no, I don't think this. No. Do you think this is the worst race?
I just think people have hit a point where they are so frustrated with what is going on, and they are unhappy with this. And it's that tipping point I keep talking about. I feel like this is it. And it's a combination of not just what happened today. It's what happened in the weeks preceding this.
It's the mood of the fan base, you're saying.
The mood. And this is going to be like the lack of a better expression, the straw that broke the camel's back. And I think this is where it really comes through this week. And the vitriol from the fans. You talk about what people are going to be talking about this week. I think it's this. I think there's just a really upset fan base right now, and I think it's going to be reflected in this poll.
Well, the lowest race is 11%. The Texas All-Star race where Blaney's window net came down, and then they let him hold it up, and that whole thing. People did not like that one. It was a bad race, and then there was that controversy at the end and all that stuff. So, all right. Well, Jordan, you're channeling the mood of the fans. I guess you've heard them loud and clear after your posts last week. So somebody got through to you in the replies. I guess you read enough.
I'm not changing my mind on the playoff format. I'm still.
No, but I'm saying you heard them.
Oh, I heard them. I don't agree with them. I hear them. That's fine. Yeah. You're wrong. That's cool. But I get what you're saying.
Just running through this real quick. Christopher Bell did come back to finish second. He obviously was the only other road course winner this season. He won at Coda. Trackhouse had all 3 cars in the top 10 today. Chastain ended up finishing 10th, Suarez 7th, and SVG 1. And also 2 of the 2311 cars getting in the top 10. Bubba Wallace outran Tyler Reddick. Bubba Wallace P8. Emerson, as they call him.
He's great
on DBC.
Now. He's good.
Yeah. Chase Briscoe, another solid run. If you're not paying attention to Chase Briscoe's summer, What are you doing? Another top 5 for him.
Sleeper champ. I don't think he's a sleeper championship 4 pick at this point. I think he's legitimate.
No, he's
yeah.
And also, remember, this is a guy who won Phoenix
Mm-hmm.
in a Stewart Haas racing car.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to give him Bell's setup information.
Mm-hmm.
Now that he's used to driving JGR cars,
Mm-hmm.
you want to see somebody win a championship.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that could be. Watch out for Chase Briscoe, folks.
Can I? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Can I add on to this? Really good on intermediate racetracks. That team especially. Chase is good on mile racetracks. This team is really good at New Hampshire. He's obviously good on road course at the Roval. Like, there isn't too many tracks in the playoffs where he's won at Darlington last year, by the way. Like, there are
great qualifier, by the way.
Like,
so he's gonna have good track position
and pit stall selection, everything like that, stage points, things like that. Like, yeah, like he's legit. Like, he is a legit championship 4 pick right now. I'll tell you, I would probably feel better right now picking him for the championship 4 than I would Christopher Bell.
Yeah. I do. I mean, I think Briscoe this summer has really caught fire. Michael McDowell, another missed opportunity here. That each of these road courses, they've really been like out there, saying this is our week. We're gonna get this done. This is the day. His last road course chance gone now. Allmendinger as well. Finished 11th today, but they had sort of this weird miscommunication on pit strategy. I don't think it would have mattered anyway, right? I mean, you're talking about you would have had to beat SVG straight up. So, but still these road course guys who really looked at, hey, we're going to win a road course this regular season and make the playoffs. One of these wild card races, they just turned out to not be wild cards at all.
No. So, I mean, I had AJ Allmendinger winning this race, and I really thought he was going to at least have a say in this, and then he just was a non-factor today. And same with Michael McDowell, who we saw was so good at Chicago earlier this year. Just needed the day to be great, and he wasn't great.
Yeah, Busher, I'm sure looking at this as well. He did get up to second for a while there, and then, but just once he got there, instead of catching SVG then just turned on the gas and pulled away. So, all right. Anything else from Cup before we talk about Xfinity stuff?
Nope. Xfinity, here we come.
Well, that was certainly an eventful Xfinity race, and we have to start with Connor Zilisch. First of all, just so glad that he's relatively okay. I mean, a broken collarbone sucks, and you don't know how long he's going to be out. But man, I mean, when you're, first of all, just watching that whole thing, I mean, I don't even think maybe people be like, make jokes about it at some point. I don't think it's going to be funny at all. Like, I don't think it's funny now, and I don't think it's going to be funny. Like, it's not like, haha, what an embarrassing moment this guy. I
mean, his dad was making jokes already online, so.
Well, maybe that's a dad thing, but I don't think it's, I'm like, dude, this was really serious, I mean, sometimes have you fallen as an adult?
Oh, yeah. Have you fallen as an adult?
Yeah.
No, I'm not incompetent. I know how to walk.
Well, sometimes people fall. Like, so last summer I was getting on an amusement park ride at Rehoboth Beach during the Olympic break, and I was holding my youngest daughter, and you kind of just step up onto this platform before you get on this sort of like Ferris wheel type thing. Why are you laughing? It's not funny.
I just would love to see video of this. I don't know. I'm glad your daughter's okay. She was okay, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Anyway,
so
I'm holding my youngest daughter, and my foot, it's our turn to step up, and my foot the edge of my foot just sort of gets hung up. I'm glad you think this is funny. Anyway,
excuse me for being entertained.
I realize I'm going down, and like I know the whole line's watching me, but like my thought is not embarrassment. It's like, oh crap, I'm gonna injure my daughter. I'm gonna fall on top of my daughter here. I'm gonna, whatever. So like I kind of like shielded myself. So I took the blow and kept my daughter from getting hit. You know what I mean? So like, dude, my shin, it like cut my shin in a way. Like there was this bruise. It had to be the whole rest of the fall. I mean, it was like 2 months. There was still like a mark on my shin. And like, I wasn't like, I hopped right up and I was like, oh, I'm fine. Yeah, whatever. Oh, my daughter's fine. See? But like, again, I wasn't embarrassed. I was like, dude, that hurt. Like that could have been bad. So like that was my thought watching Connor as well. Like, I mean, it wasn't funny at all. Like he slipped and then the camera cuts to it. He's freaking out on the ground. And you're like, holy crap. Like, does he have a brain injury? Is he paralyzed? Something like that. Like, did we just see the possible, the next big thing in NASCAR get hurt in a blink of an eye like that? Like just, he's celebrating a win. Like what? Like you're watching that and it happens so quickly. You're like, well, you're trying to process this. By the way, I thought Adam Alexander and the CW did a really good job. Yes, he fell. And then like they handled it really well. That cuts a break. And then they come back and like Dylan Welch, he obviously sounded shaken. You know, they show him being on a backboard out. Fortunately, the reporters on the scene there, you know, Dustin Long said he was sitting up in the ambulance shortly thereafter. And you're like, okay, well, at least, you know, he's conscious and stuff like that. But man, that was really frightening. I mean, I felt sick over that for a little bit. Like I was just like, dude, this is awful. Yeah. You know? So I'm glad that a broken collarbone is the all it was, I guess. I mean, even though it's not ideal, that was terrible.
Awful, brutal. Like, no, seriously, it was awful to watch, and it's just that sound of him hitting down, and you know, been in victory lanes, you know, he's not like that's a hard landing, and immediately your mind goes to the worst: concussion, broken neck, who knows? I didn't even think about the collarbone at first until later after watching it and hearing some other people talk about it. And they're like, "Hey, man, do you see the impact on the shoulder?" And you're like, wow. That's scary. That's a tough thing. It's you see it in other sports too, where somebody hits their head on the field, and that's tough. That's a tough thing. Thankfully, he's going to be okay. Yeah, I'm glad it's just a collarbone.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say, well, that's the most embarrassing moment of your life, kind of thing, because it made the rounds. A NASCAR driver falls, but again, I don't think it's like. I think it's more like if I was him, the emotion would be like, wow. I actually feel kind of lucky and fortunate here because that could have been a lot worse rather than, I'm so embarrassed this happened, you know? And by the way, if that's the most embarrassing thing that ever happens in his whole life, I think he'll be all right. But
agreed,
man, that was, anyway.
Real quick, we change the subject real quick. Is there any video at all of you falling last year? Anyone has video?
No, I mean, why would somebody?
I don't know if your wife was with you and she was recording this. You know, families are. Like one of those.
Why would you be recording somebody getting onto an amusement park ride?
I don't know. Like, oh, look, Jeff and his daughter are getting on a ride. Oh, isn't that sweet? Oh, it's precious. That kind of thing.
No, they were in line too.
Yeah,
so they were all getting on the ride.
I mean, you're like video. Yeah, just a long shot. Just hoping. That's all. Just hoping.
I tell you what, dude, you are. I know you're not a big karma person, I guess, but you are setting up horrible karma for yourself when you do fall. You're going to fall. And it's probably going to be at a racetrack going over the wall like NASCAR Chasm did. Like going over the pit wall.
Yeah.
And, it's you're going to be chasing somebody and take a spill. I mean, gosh, poor Dustin Long at Pocono.
Oh, yeah. Broke his ankle.
Years ago, he stepped off the inspection thing. He broke his ankle.
Yeah, he fell into a hole.
No, I think he broke.
He
stepped off the platform.
Oh, did he? Okay.
The laser inspection platform, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought he stepped into a hole. He fell off and then went into. All right. Yeah, broke his ankle. Awful.
Anyway,
but his credit though, didn't miss any time. Was back the next day.
Oh, I'm sure you wouldn't either. But I'm just saying you're setting yourself up for a horrible with your lack of empathy here. Anyway,
terrible for Zilich. I feel terrible.
No, I know. For me.
Oh yeah, you're a different story. That's yeah. Well, you deserve that. That's fine.
Okay. Anyway, Zilich, prior to that, the story, even though he won his 6th race of the year, a lot of the story afterwards was going to be people asking him about the contact he had with SVG, because he wrecked SVG. I mean, you could say, TV, Jamie McMurray made a really strong argument in terms of like, hey, SVG's got to give a lane to let Zilich back on the track after he'd, gone wide in that corner there. Is that a thing? Like, who says you have to let a driver back on the track? No, I guess the alternative is if you don't let him back on the track, you may yourself get wrecked. But ethically, do you have to leave a lane for somebody to re-enter? Why can't that driver just slide in behind you? I mean, I think Zilich being Zilich actually got like the benefit of the doubt there. Where like Austin Hill, obviously, in his incident certainly did not get the benefit of the doubt. I do not think Austin Hill intentionally wrecked Michael McDowell. What I do think is Austin Hill made a bad judgment there, but that wasn't the same as I'm going to intentionally right rear somebody, which, by the way, he denied this week to Dustin Albino of J-Ski. But I think the Austin Hill thing, now, if I was Austin Hill coming back after all that, you would have thought for one race, you mind your P's and Q's for one race. You make sure that you don't run anybody over. You don't knock Zilich out of the way on a restart. You do not cause a 45-minute red flag by destroying McDowell. And by the way, Ryan Ellis, the car pretty much went through his windshield. And he said he had that's a radio dead zone. They don't have spotters in that area anyway. And he said he tweeted he saw dust and then he saw a car flying and came in through his windshield. I mean, he got lucky. So that was a really, really, really bad wreck. So you would have thought if you're Austin Hill, regardless of, hey, I'm going to still race hard, which he said, I'm not going to change anything. He didn't.
He didn't. Nope.
And I probably would have for 1 week. I'm just saying if it was me, but that's why I'm not a race car driver, I guess.
I don't.
What's your interpretation of the Zilich SVG thing and Austin Hill McDowell?
I agree 100% on the Austin Hill thing. It's like you just have to just keep your head underwater. Don't make any waves. Like, let it go. Just be smart. Don't do anybody reason to get upset with you. Certainly do not cause an accident that wipes out as many cars as he did. Can I say this, though? And I don't know the logistics of Watkins Glen, so I'm going to probably speak out of turn here, and there's probably a real simple answer for this. I feel like it's probably time to maybe put a spotter stand over there. Like, we have seen enough wrecks over the years in that area. And I understand, and I wrote a piece on The Athletic about how difficult it is to spot on road courses because you can't expect you can't really cover the entire area. But we have seen enough accidents, big accidents, by the way, in that section of the track. And drivers have said, like, we just don't see anything. And I think it was Ryan Ellis who tweeted this, and it was like, hey, I could see nothing. If we look like ARCA guys going through there's a reason, because we had no idea. I feel like we could maybe put a spotter stand up there. And I actually went online and looked at some photos of that area, and I'm like, it seems like you could build a spotter stand pretty damn easy. I mean, they bring in buses at Chicago. Like, am I wrong in thinking that, Jeff?
Well, I mean, it sounds like it's like even more than that. It's a radio dead zone. They're saying.
Well, figure it like, okay, but this is 2020.
You couldn't even hear the radios coming through there. I can't remember if it was Raja Karuth who tweeted that, or it was, Ryan Ellis said he couldn't hear anything, or Kligerman. But a couple drivers were talking on X, and they agreed that there was some sort of dead zone where they couldn't hear anything there. So I mean, obviously spotters would probably help there. I mean, but geez, that is a vicious. I mean, hey, McDowell himself wrecked there in the past. So
yes, we've seen other guys. It's just, yes, maybe there's a radio issue, but again, like, there has to be a solution of like giving these guys a heads up. I don't know. It just seems like we've seen enough bad accidents in that section of the track. And you so often hear, well, we don't know what's going on. Like, that's a safety thing. At the end of the day, like, figure it out. Like, somehow, some way, let's figure that out. The Zilich thing, in no way do I think he did it deliberately. Like, there's people.
No. I'm not saying he did it deliberately.
Did he make a mistake and misjudgment? Yeah. Like, to me, it almost kind of reminded me of the Christopher Bell thing at Indianapolis when he hit Zane. Like, Bell just made a mistake and misjudged it and clipped him, and Zane, unfortunately, was on
Well, that's not what he was saying, though. He's saying, hey, I'm re-entering the track.
Yeah,
he needs to give me a lane. He didn't give me a lane. I don't think he's saying, oh, I swerved up onto the track too early. He's saying he came across my nose because he's saying I'm re-entering here. He needs to leave me space for that. He was too far in the middle of the track. He did not leave that for me. And so he wrecked himself, basically, is what I believe that the argument is there.
Okay, I thought it was I moved over a little bit. Anyway, I think it's a racing accident. I do not expect SVG to concede anything in that spot. And if anything, because we've seen how he raced at Chicagoland after the Xfinity Series race. He had a conversation with Kyle Busch about, hey, in NASCAR, you don't really kind of push guys into the wall. You kind of let them have a lane at least or whatever. And SVG is like, really? To me, it's like, that's hard racing. Now, do you need to be racing your teammate that way in that situation, especially if you're SVG in a race that, you're not racing for, anything beyond the win, and just looking at the bigger picture here? I don't know that. To me, it's racing.
They're racing for the lead. He's blocking. He's trying to stay ahead. You don't know what happens if you could get somebody to use up their tires. And
I get it. But like, it's just a little bit of, whenever you have guys come down and race in other series, it's like you have to have a little bit of perspective on what these guys are racing for. But this is racing, and this is part of it. This is stock car racing. This is stock car racing on a road course. It is physical. It is touted as that. And you're supposed to give no inch and ask for no quarter. And that's kind of what this was. And the unfortunate thing is that SVG ended up on the hook, and thankfully he's okay as well.
Man, you had a 19-year-old win in the Xfinity race. Is Corey Heim 19 also? Is that right?
Let me do a quick old Google search here. I thought he was older than that.
Oh, he's 23.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's older than that. He's not 19 because he's been racing at the National Series now for a few years. So he was not. Yeah.
So he's 23. He won the truck race, and then a freaking 15-year-old, that hurt.
You're old, man.
The ARCA race.
You're old.
Somebody even tweeted me that my Twitter account is older. I mean, when your Twitter account is older than a driver winning a race, man, that hurts.
We'll put you in a hole soon.
And then you have an 18-year-old winning the Knoxville Nationals, winning the Knoxville Nationals too. So, man, and then you have SVG holding one out for the balding community in his late 30s, correcting the young driver trend. So, but yeah, I mean, geez, what a. And by the way, it looks like as we're tracking here, I'm not watching the race, but speaking of older drivers, Will Power has just won the IndyCar race, and Alex Palou has clinched his 4th championship. So
how about that? Team Penske's first win of the year, I believe.
Yes, first win of the year.
First win of the year, and how about Will Power too? Contract year, reading the tea leaves and everything. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not covering IndyCar, but a guy's going to return on a contract extension. It feels like it would have been done by now, or there would have been a lot more movement in that direction. And based on the comments that Will Power made this past week or recently to Bob Pockers from Fox Sports, certainly doesn't seem like that's it doesn't seem like his Penske return is anything, but it's very much up in the air.
Yeah. So anyway, 4th title in 5 years for Alex Palou. They're in sort of a Jimmy Johnson-esque stretch over there in IndyCar at this point because this guy is just relentless. But anyway, all right. So anything else from the week or anything that you want to talk about before we say farewell here until Richmond? What else you got?
You wrote a great story on The Athletic. You talked about it, how hard this car is to drive and the skill. We hear the complaint often is like, oh, it's so easy. You wrote a great story on The Athletic this week, basically detailing why this isn't easy, why it's a challenge, why drivers are on that edge of control with this car. And I highly recommend people to read that. I didn't get a chance to tell you this, but I thought you did a really great job with that.
Oh, well, thank you. That's very kind of you. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, just how hard this car is. Also had a 12 questions with Kyle Busch this week on The Athletic, and thank you. I thought he was great. He was in a great mood. Really enjoyed that one. You can check that out. And also for the podcast listeners out there, the 12 questions is now a free podcast, so you don't even have to read it. You can go to the 12 questions and listen to the interviews. And we have Denny Hamlin coming up this week on the 12 questions. Don't forget as well to check out Jordan's latest from last week on free agency, silly season stuff. You had some notes on Justin Haley, Daniel Suarez. So make sure to go catch up with all that. And we also had a contract extension announced this week for SVG. No surprise, but
why would you not want to keep the guy who's tied for the series wins?
Yep, exactly. All right, Jordan, Richmond next week, and then Daytona to wrap up the regular season.
Look forward to it.
All right, everybody. Well, thank you as always for listening, and we will talk to you next time on The Teardown. See you later, everybody.